Hi, everyone. So I guess I'll welcome everybody into this space. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to West East Poets of the Pandemic and Beyond, Lynn, Sandy, and Susanna for having us tonight. I'm so happy to be here. Nicole's mic, unfortunately, is not cooperating with us today. So I'll just say like a few quick words. I'm so happy to see all of your faces on my computer screen and to be together with you all. I've just found that every time we've gotten together in person or even on these screens, my body has just felt so alive and I've just felt like my life just open every time we've come together. And so I'm so happy to be here and so happy that I get to hear your poems again. Um, we've like to just invite everybody into the space to be in our bodies for a minute or less than a minute, just by taking a deep breath together and just kind of being here, being with each other in this moment, and opening ourselves up to the words and to the poetry. So I'm just going to take a deep breath and out. And I think that the in the list in the chat is going to be the list of the readers, and I believe that everybody is going in more or less alphabetical order. And I'm so happy to be able to be in the audience and listen to these poems again. I love hearing them every time. And it's been such a pleasure and an honor to be with these poems for this past year. And thank you. And I'm so grateful for all of you and for all of your poems. And I think our first reader is Lisa Andrews.
Thank you, Chenda and Nicole and Jennifer and Susanna and Lynn and Sandy and Carolyn and Lynn McGee. This is page 26. Thank you. On the night the key breaks in the lock, everything, the locksmith said, has its breaking point. A telephone, a camera, a marriage. I don't understand how anything works. Heart or eye, mind, mouth or throat, the numerous small bones, how difficult swallowing can be, how it isn't that hard to choke, by which I mean, of course, the opposite, the body's potential for betrayal so vast. We ought to applaud it every day. Praise all things that work and do no harm. Music without static, elections not hacked, the homeless man who leapt in front of you, signal and gate between you and the car you never saw coming. But who sees anything coming? I mean the thing that comes from nowhere. The shuddering sky, the distance between you and the shore, riptide, where water divides against itself and you. Your husband carrying you along the rift in the ocean's side. Your husband also, who intervened on the FDR while you bent down and braced for the impact you thought inevitable. The optimist who married you reached for the cab driver, calmly and firmly showing him where to look and what to do. Thank them both. Celebrate and acknowledge all the nights in your life you have slept. Praise everything benign, indolent, chronic even, the water you can drink at your lips.
Amazing, amazing poem. Wow.
think it's me. Yes.
Okay, so I guess we'll just go down the list. I think Subhaga is next.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be in the virtual room with all these braving the body people. It feels really good to be with you. And thanks to everybody. Lisa already thanked everybody so thoroughly. I'll just say thank you again to the editors and to the hosts. I'm on page 27, fat shame. Over breakfast, I read about Fat Eater, the latest Shark Tank discovery, a totally natural and organic pill that eats fat. The video shows a woman in beige underwear lifting her belly onto a tabletop. I know it's wrong. Later in town, from the bakery came a woman in stretchy clothes, round everywhere, carrying a cake. Fat eater, I thought. My father's mother had a big, soft body with thin arms and legs. She was always heavy, is the word we used. So my mother warned, you'll end up as big as Mom. When I asked for seconds at table, she would say my name and puff out her cheeks. I got the message. All my life, I've watched my weight, watched it increase, my mother would say. My partner from some years ago had a high round belly and received an anonymous letter describing a diet. It really works, someone had written. It was her birthday. I had bought a special cake. The letter hung in the air with candle smoke. On TV, there's a woman whose character has struggled with weight since childhood, emotional eating, body image, and so on. I'll see her life as a fight when, as I watch her in my loose sweats, she moves like a body of water, her beauty not diminished by her girth. Watching her, I try to shed the shame fed to me since birth. Thank you.
Love that.
Hi, I'm Dustin Berkshire. I love that poem so much. Before I read, I just want to congratulate the editors on being the top selling book at Small Harbor Publishing for the year of 2024. If you have read this book, you know why it's the #1 selling book at the press. So Chinda, Jennifer, Nicole, congratulations. And I echo the gratitude that's already been said tonight. I am Dustin Berkshire. My poem is on page 39. When I was straight. I stayed home while my mother drove to the grocery store. 2 hours alone to prance in my mother's high heels, wear her dresses and nightgowns, and a white t-shirt as a wig. I'd probe her jewelry box, slip on a ring or two, a necklace, and the bracelet she only wore for special occasions. I applied her lipstick with a smile. I'd sit back straight, legs crossed, directing the household staff that we didn't have on the tasks of the day. Vacuum, mop, polish the china, and press the laundry. A boss lady before being a boss lady was a thing. I'd twirl around the living room with one hand extended, an invitation to a man who wouldn't enter my life for another 35 years. When I was straight, my father would say, I'd rather one of my sons blow my brains out than tell me he's gay. Thank you.
So,
Is Eileen Cleary here? Okay, so Suzanne, I guess we'll move to you.
Okay, thank you. This poem is for each of you, but it's also especially for our caregivers, not caregivers. The poem is called Emergency Room. When it's your heart, you go to the front of the line, ahead of the humpbacked woman holding a rosary, and the construction worker holding his side, and the woman with long brown hair holding a baby. You go ahead of the boy with his arm in a towel, his father holding a cell phone and not looking up. You walk 2 steps and then you feel a wheelchair at the back of your knees and you sit. I sat. The fluorescent light seemed to shimmer like a bead curtain. And I'm not saying that I saw my life flash before me, but next I was seeing that day in Rome when I stood inside the front door of my hotel, watching rain, sudden and hard, fall. And that old man appeared with a blue plastic bucket full of umbrellas. How happy I was, I remembered, to have my choice of colors, red, blue, black, yellow. I chose a red one, then I put it back. I wanted the yellow. Everyone on our tour was choosing, and my husband helping me to open the cheap, overpriced umbrella as rain beaded on my glasses, and it became clear that we would let nothing stop us, not that day.
That's wonderful. So I guess our
Hi.
next, hi,
Sorry, hi, how does this work?
here you go. You're good.
Okay. Gonna read my poem from the anthology, Driving South, 10 Weeks Pregnant. You guys hear me okay? My headphones aren't working so well. Delaware bleeds into Maryland, bleeds into Virginia, into West Virginia, into Virginia again. These nauseating hills, this endless highway mountained on both sides. If something were to go wrong, if I were to bleed, if I were to need a doctor, these pregnant hilltops straining against the punishing pink sky, clouds spooling and unspooling, how anyone can mistake this country for beautiful. If I couldn't reach a doctor in time, if there were no doctor, if no doctor would see me, how shadows blew the mountains at sunset, how fireflies dot the grass. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. So the next poet is Suzanne Frischkorn.
I don't think she's here. Okay, so then Benjamin Grossberg.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here reading with you guys tonight. I do want to say I have a kitten who's currently turbocharged, so anything might happen. It doesn't. My mother approves. It's on page 78. My mother approves. It was not evening out jewelry, not twice a year jewelry. She slept in it. She always said when she died, I would have it, but almost certainly never pictured me wearing it, how it would lie an inch below my beard in the hollow between my clavicles, how the serpentine chain would catch stray hairs on my shoulders and neck, and the emerald, bright with its corona of diamond chips, would fill the open collar of a flannel shirt over jeans, brown belt, work boots, and be, to the right kind of man, a signal, a traffic light glowing green at the most vulnerable spot on my throat. Now, in death, she understands the necklace was always about drawing the eye to the flesh, a way to scoop light from the air, to make a man want to catch that light like a snowflake on his tongue. Yes, that's the word she's saying to the body most like her own once was, briefly incarnating herself in front of me to straighten the chain. My mother, like any mother, willing her child to be beautiful. Yes, it fits like that, close to the throat.
Hi, it's so nice to be here. And Thank you so much for hosting. I'm going to read my poem, which is on page, somebody told me, wait, 96. And it's a villanelle. On our 31st wedding anniversary, I discover my heart has hardened. Its cave-like passageways half occluded, with helictites that catch the blood flow in their corkscrews. I am rock, steadied. In kidney lobes, calcium has marbled every so often to bowl itself through cave-like passageways which, half occluded, spill out scarlet protests, undiluted. Stones inch out from salivary glands, too, fragile corkscrews. I am rock, steadied, particles gathering in joints, crystallized. My body collects quartz, but not for show. Its cave-like passageways half occluded, redirecting grit to whirlpool, eddied. Pan me for gold and find pebbles to throw, plain and corkscrew. Rock, unsteadied. Still, with amethyst glint, geoded, I'll break open to the chisel of you. My cave-like passageways half occluded, not yet screwed. I'm rocked by rocks, am steadied.
That's beautiful. And it's so, I feel like it's perfect that I'm reading after you, Jen, with the heart. And I wanted to mention that I was listening to a science podcast recently, and one of the challenges that people who work with artificial hearts and heart surgeons, is that the heart doesn't repair it never rests. It never rests. And that's one reason why it's harder for heart tissue to repair itself, but they're finding ways to make it repair itself. But I don't know, that seemed really poignant to me. Okay, this is it. Oh, I just want to mention that there's a birthday party mentioned in this poem, and it was Dean Kostos, his birthday party. I don't know if you guys knew Dean. He died like 3 years ago, a poet, Dean Kostos. And he always had his party at this restaurant in Chelsea. Anyway, this is it. Your sternum, where I rested my head those years we shared a bed, has been cracked like a lobster claw, and a jigsaw in the surgeon's hand flicks its razor tongue. Behold, the pericardium, milky veil that guards your fist of a heart, finally loosening its grip. This morning, in a southern state saturated in sunshine and free of helmet laws, a young man was mangled beyond repair, but his strong heart, hunkered down in its cave, was gently pried out like a barnacle, and his gift, in its yellow cushion of fat, was packed in ice, flown north, and rolled with expert haste to the west side of Manhattan, where you sat up in bed dialing the call that buzzed in my backpack. You text me too. This is it. And by nightfall, surgeons stitch the pulsing muscle of a stranger into the cavity of your chest, atrium to atrium, vein to vein, and your blood finds its new hub and passes through. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Militello. It's an absolute pleasure to be hearing all of these poems tonight, and to be with all of you. So thank you to everyone who's reading. It's really been amazing. My poem is on page 131 of the anthology, Odaxilagnia. When I sink my teeth into you, there is a taste, a satisfaction, the start of a match, the catch in your throat. We are rich with the exhilarations of our blood. We are rich with our print-blackened roots, like the crowns of my canines in you, cracked like dirt, enamel fragile and eggshell veined. I sink my teeth and they knit your history, a coat. I shut the tap cold like a tap and lean like a trunk, and we unravel as though thread. And when we fall, The quiet is like a feather, like a bough. It was a god I held in the trap of my mouth. In you, my rabbit gone limp, my bite at your neck, and me tasting fur like wind, and me tasting the scent of you melted as wax. A wick lit. It was my path. It was a desire to solidify and start at the front, at the back, in the lip, at its cry, no dry soul unsickened yet. I sink my teeth, I notch your depth, I prove it has terror, an Atlantic I've wept. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. It's just an incredible thing. It's 2:30 in the morning here where I am, and it's just so much to be here with all of you. So I'm just grateful. My poem is on page 139. Somewhere within. Perhaps the doctor was called late, late into the night, nightly, late, and called again, his black bag crammed with the clink of leeches, jars lined up to suck her selfhood yet again, set like moss along her vulva, the pink flesh of her mind never condensed, engorged in spider veins sprung free. Perhaps she wants to know all of it. Perhaps.
Not like to talk. Well, like poetry. Much surgery.
Perhaps they call her witch. They call her hysteric. Perhaps she wants to know, do leeches drink well from her disease? Oh, the curious leech who escapes his fate to swim within, enter her blood yoke, hear her marriage bed, longing, clot remorse. What is the will of a willful barnacle? To attach the sides of her womb, finally filling an embryo of self-suck blood to grow fast and fat, round like days and nights alive. Oh, sponge, oh, shudder, to convulse this way. Yes, they call her witch, her unwashed hair. Yes, her spiral eyes. Yes, they call her hysteric, bleeding the parts impacted, the parts expended, yes, used, though never released. Oh, the packing, her words finally drowned. To the density of an ignited chain reaction, wildfire release. Child, child, finally, leech child, born to shatter mosquito-like in her arms. Thank you.
This is lovely. Thank you. I'm on page 150, and my poem's called Citadel. And I have a turbocharged border collie, so if she starts barking, she's braving her barking. So hopefully she won't. Citadel. This is not your body. It does not belong to you. It is not the one that left the sallow rooms of home circa 1980, never to return. This is not the body who entered the hallway of a college dormitory and knew not a soul who carried English books like a soldier carries ammunition. This is not the body that left the same college town pregnant with a son with a man you knew would someday leave. This is not the body who gave birth and bid farewell to a womb who carried two babies. This is not the body who falls into anesthesia and counts stitches like shame. This is not the body you return to each murky dusk. This is the body you were told to smite. This is the body you hid inside. This is the body you cradled. This is the body that knows the sound of a belt removed before a beating. And this is the body that knows how to leave, like a song rising from nothing, like music leaving a cathedral. Thank you.
Wow, these poems, they're just incredible. My poem is on page 152. I'm Vivian Faith Prescott from Wrangell, Alaska, a small island in southeast Alaska, and I'm going to read to you Tracking the Animal. But maybe just take a second and put your hand on your belly. I think we've all got one, and just appreciate it, whatever it does. Anyway, Tracking the Animal. There is this belly. It inflates and deflates with life, filled with bubbling and gurgling, like water over stones, like a low growl from the forest. Me, this animal belly, is a reindeer leaving tracks in snow, with hoofprints stitched across tundra. Because years ago, a surgeon living in a log cabin left a line of sight, a red tacked trail from my belly button, now a faint and well-traveled path. My animal belly wiggles and sways above hips, stretches with cobra pose, and once jiggled to castanets. This animal belly swells like bladder rack at menopause, a tent for memories, a belly both satisfied and hungry, inspired, instinctive, has been shocked, scarred, and scared. Everything a belly can be, mostly sacred, is even a wild land sticky with love.
Hi, Vivian, that was beautiful. All of these poems have been amazing, and you're all amazing. And thank you to the editors and all the people that were thinking. Thank you, all of them. Bravo to the bellies, indeed. My name is Donna Sprout Metz, and I'm reading on one page 175. I'm in the middle of Los Angeles and these fires, and so far I've been fairly lucky watching so many people lose their houses. I have 2 turbocharged dogs, so. All right. Dead Fathers Club, after Psalm 38. I have poor depth perception. I can't thread a needle, can't get through. You crossed over long ago. I raise my arms to block the next blow, and it will come. I predict it with this ruined machinery. The punishment for remembering is another truth. I am the patchwork woman, my heart a low-grade inflammation, my skin a dated map, mottled record of breakage. No guide for this dark walk towards God or blindness. I eat my own hands so as not to touch another. Thank you.
I love these readings so much. Each one so different, just depending on the combination of poems and how different everything sounds. So thank you, everyone. I'm Barbara Unger, and my poem is on page 184. When I opened it up, I have a little sticky note, and there's a lot of my poems are inspired by funny things my son says. I don't know if you can read this, but the sticky note has a little note from him, and it says, penis poop, which seems appropriate for our volume. So this is AP Physics, and the epigraph is from Smiles of a Summer Night, and a very old character, Mrs. Armfeld, says, "One can never protect a single human being from any kind of suffering. That's what makes one so tremendously weary." Your son says, "Did you know you exert a gravitational pull on everything in the universe, and everything in the universe exerts a gravitational pull on you? And that's what makes you so tremendously weary, you think, until you learn there's no such thing as gravity, but rather space-time curves like a stretchy fabric, and things roll towards one another like balls that follow grooved tracks around an incline. And then again, that Einstein was wrong. There is no time or space at the tiniest level, just quanta weaving the net of what is. Though these are but crude metaphors, as you know from fasting, eating peyote, or giving birth, but which, to survive on the gross scale of a body, you must forget. And this, too, makes you tremendously weary. Or perhaps it's just motherhood and age, which also don't really exist. Thank you.
I'm Sarah, and my poem is on page 187. 30 years. You want to hold me, so we lie under the covers in our underwear, sticky stomachs touching, your thumb worrying my elbow, the commuter train in the distance. The smell of grease, turpentine, and smoke rises up from our neighbor's patio. They're quiet, laughing just as loud as the wind in the bushes, so we'll need to be quiet too. Our 15-year-old will be gone only as long as it takes to eat a slice, but we can't rush this. After 30 years, desire's rare, shy as an albino fawn. Soon you'll be dressed, humming, stirring red spices into a pan full of grease and meat, your body tired and slumping, but your feet dancing. I'll stand at the sink doing the few dishes, my breast hanging low and forgotten under my stained nightgown, my nipples rough, pocked as lemon peel. Soon our son will walk the unshaded strip of sidewalk up the hill to our building, knowing he should dawdle, but not really knowing why. Cars blowing up clouds of grit as they pass him, a drift of song that makes his face move like a puddle's glossy meniscus when the wind stirs it. Our neighbors are eating now. From above, the meat on their glossy plates looks black, the blood pooled like wet tar. The cooking embers have turned gray, a halo of smoke rising above the pit, white ash sparking in the porch light.
That was beautiful, Sarah. I don't know. Can you all hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason my computer, the sound won't work, and the phone, the video won't work. It says that I'm in safe driving mode. So I'm thinking of us all being in safe driving mode at this point in this like intersection of time and space. I feel like that all went so fast. I know Ren's not here. But I feel like everything has gone so fast, and I want to hear. I don't know. I want to hear 100 more poems, and I think that I will read one now by Emily Franklin. Plans. My mother wants her body turned into human compost. Oh, it's page 67. Plans. My mother wants her body turned into human compost. But don't say it like that. Say instead flower bed, or more specific, tell everyone she became moss carpeting the raised trough, became delosperma, those fire spinner ice plants each bloom, a tiny breakable plate, opening upon first touch of light and sleeping as though having been sung to. Tender shepherd, let me help you count your sheep. Let the body my mother's body, become all the things she did not. Scientist, visitor to other planets, shyly knowing beings other than people, gardener, painter of wild irises, gone sideways to the breeze. Let her body be a blanket for my own selfish sorrow, which will grow and return, perennial forever, the way bulbs regrow, even after voles, gray mice, squirrels claw down into the earth where my mother wants to become another living, breathing thing, which is to say, she wants her body to be what it has been always to me, and who she became above all else, above rolls and above ankle height, crocuses and hyacinth. My mother wants to become, or maybe to stay, seasonless as sorrow, as green or rot. Mother, 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 mother. And I thought, since we have a little time, I would love to hear. I know that Kari Dodd and Rin, perhaps a couple people could read their poems. And other people who were missing. And I know that Chenda and Jenny will be reading as well. I might log back onto my computer so I can see your faces, but you cannot hear my voice. Okay. And thank you so much to West East for hosting. This has, it feels good to be together with all of you in 2025, the future. It's here.
That's a great idea. I was going to suggest if people wanted to read other poems from the anthology, if it's all right with you guys. Just so, let me see. I'll look up what page Ren's poem is on. Oh, okay, great.
You know, there's also some poets in the room that are in the anthology that aren't that aren't on the original list. I'm just gonna call someone out because I literally had just opened the book randomly to David Groff, and David Groff is here. So, you know, I'm just putting it out there, David, if you care to read your poem. And anyone else in the room that might be true for.
And Ren's poem is on page 193 if someone wants to read it.
I can read Ren's poem. Oh, Supaga, you want to read?
If that's okay, sure.
Yes.
Snakeskin. I have a particular slither in my chest coiling me awake. My lungs will not open. I sit against the bathroom wall, tiles slicked with shower steam hissing through me, a signal. As a child in the grocery store with my mother, people stare. How could such a rattle come out of that small throat? I'm trying to give myself a warning that my body will be haunted by what it sheds.
Mm.
Thank you. Ren.
Penda, did you want to read the poem you were going to read tonight?
Yeah.
And then I'll read Jessica's then.
I can also read Kari Dad's poem too. We can bring her into this space. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. It's been so wonderful to hear everybody's poems and to think about all the different ways that we experience our bodies and think about our bodies. And yeah, it's been so great. Okay, I'll read Caridad's poem, which is so it's a little scary given like where we are in the history of this country. To the childhood friend who shrugged when Roe versus Wade was overturned because she claimed to have no skin left in the game. You were the girl who leaned against the locked door of a McDonald's bathroom stall. Halfway through a double shift, you picked up to buy a pregnancy test you couldn't afford after tuition and rent. Your boyfriend, a light switch, off and on and off again. He didn't have a job, and your terror was no small thing. You knew too much about going it alone, living check to check, trying to break a mold too slight to contain the want for a life unlike your mother's, beholden to her husband, your father, a cruel supervisor at the girdle factory, duty bound, strapped to a kid ruled life that stopped being her own long before it ever began. Your brown polyester uniform pooled on the floor, quivered with the current of your trembling. And even though the tiny window on that plastic stick never did turn pink, we had a plan in case it did. We had choices then, choices that did not include a bassinet. Although I had not yet found myself in the same predicament, I never did forget how cold your hands were as we waited at the sink. I held them in my own, kept you warm with my very skin.
Thank you, Chenda. B is braving her body right now, too. I hear. I'm going to read Jessica L. Walsh's poem, and then David Groff is going to, I think, bring us home. Thank you all for hosting tonight, and thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your poems from this anthology. We are so grateful to you for your work, and we love how it has new voices that we are just learning about in the poetry community, as well as established poets. So thank you all for being here. This is on page 189. It's Jessica L. Walsh. It's normal to feel your body has betrayed you. Listen, as far as betrayals go, I started it, sucking down Kool-Aid to Coke, straight through until whiskey. The Iowa years alone are worth a failed kidney, a fat liver. Miracle is I made it this far before my body ran out of cheeks to turn. Oh, body, I begged you to take blow after blow, and you did, even when I hated you, choked you with booze, and gave you up to strangers, threw punches with your hands, took punches with your nose, even when I ate until I puked or ate because I planned to puke, when I didn't eat or ate your weight. This very morning, I chewed a cookie, then spat it into the disposal like I could mock you and your hungry blood. Body, if you choose today to begin your rough reckoning, if today you pour all my secrets into charts and scans, if today is your cry for mercy, I promise you, feel what I feel is not betrayal, but sad relief, like a tired bully about to be felled. It's time, body, for you to tell on me. Jessica L. Walsh.
Amazing.
Thank you all. Wonderful to be in among all these embodied poems tonight. This poem from the anthology is called Days of 1986. My suspect blood. Dr. Cerroti filled a vial. I had to take myself down the grim avenue to the Board of Health in the cold spring evening, crosswalk after crosswalk. As the sun sidled in, I saw hundreds of others like me bearing their blood, but inside their bodies. The vial, I wanted to pluck it from my backpack and prop it on top of a payphone or stash it in the trash can with the dead daily news, wanting no news, not even good news, all news cleaving me from my brothers. But I kept taking steps, the street annoying with life, the sun incumbent, the storefronts bloody gold, until I had to enter the Board of Health to find an unguarded tray of vials and place mine among them, all of us numbered, together in our before. I went back into a city vital with night, the world a blade so cutting that at times I could feel. Thank you.
You know, that's a poem where the title, you know, and the year carries so much, just so much.
Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you all for being here and reading such powerful work. And the session will be up on YouTube later this week, and we'll post a notice in Facebook so you can access it and share it as you wish. And just to let you know, I think Lynn said at the beginning, our next reading is March 8th, and it's a Saturday, so we're switching from Sunday night to Saturday afternoon.
International Women's Day.
Well, perfect. 3 o'clock on the East Coast, noon on the West Coast, and for now, it makes it a lot easier also for people from the UK to tune in because it's 8 o'clock. It'll be 8 o'clock there. So look for announcements on Facebook. And if you read for us, you're on our mailing list. Nicole asked for Karen Friedland's poem. Maybe that's a nice way to end. If one of the editors wants to read it, or someone else.
There's also a really amazing poem. I mean, every poem in this anthology, extraordinary, truly. But there's a poem on page 64. It's Iris Jamal Dunkel's poem, Dear Body. It's like this love letter to the body. That feels like a really good closer also. I just would also like to throw that out there to any of the editors. I'm happy to read Karen's poem. I can read Iris's poem too, if we all want to do that. Okay. This is by Karen Friedland. It recurred. Yes, this cancer is doing its damnedest to kill me, and it will eventually. This is guaranteed. But right now, my scrappy, hardy body prevails, spills words onto pages, accepts hugs from neighbors, makes savory dinners, appreciates fall crickets. I am living a somehow sweeter life, here on the precipice, with a gut full of growing tumors, on the knife edge of hope and terror. At this tender moment, my death
is merely theoretical, and life is all I'll ever know. That was Karen Friedland. And this is Dear Body by Iris Jamal Dunkel. Dear Body, 1. This is a blurry love letter. See examples in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. 2. For so long, you have been my far-off star, the sword I swallowed, made of fire, and walked on. 3. And you scarecrowed the pulse of my mind. 4. There were days when electricity could thread your pulse awake and you'd bloom like a goddamn peony. See Elizabeth Bishop's The Fish. 5. Body, let's be real. I never trusted those raves of force. I knew you'd sink back into being a sheath, something to shed, my poisonous snake. 6. I'm writing to tell you those little nerves you wove back into my legs like new galaxies are my new true loves. 7. And those webs of muscles they've constructed that carry me are my beloveds. 8. I'm walking into the new year like it is a starving ocean, not knowing if you, body, are my master or servant. See Kate Chopin's The Awakening. 9. Dear body, dear body, dear body, I promise this time not to forsake you. Thank you, everyone.
I think people can unmute themselves if they want to right now. So you can just let's all have a round of applause. Thank you for the editors of this amazing anthology.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your reading and for the editors for their editing and the hostesses for their hostessing.
Beautiful. Thank
Sending
you.
love.
Yeah, thanks for gracing all of us with your poems tonight. I mean, what an extraordinarily prismatic and beautiful, beautiful reading. Every poem truly touched me and deeply, and I'm very, very grateful for this anthology. And I remember being at the New York Poetry Festival this summer, and when I saw Chenda and Nicole at the table, just running up to the table, I was so excited to get to meet the people that were putting out this anthology that I'd heard about. And now to hear your voices on this January evening, you have no idea. You have no idea. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm going to close the recording. So